If you are on a self-discovery journey, this podcast is for you. We will explore personal growth through storytelling, candid conversations, and practical strategies to help us navigate through life's challenges and rewards. This is your Access Has Been Granted podcast, the off-season. Regulators! Y'all, we have made it to the final episode of Your Access Has Been Granted podcast, the off season. I am your host, Brittany Leary. I'm a life coach and the host of this here podcast. In the past, 4 episodes, we have been focusing on the series that I've named the off season. That is just the hibernation season, the winter, the time that we sit and we reflect and we recharge. And I did my self-reflection with you guys in front of the camera for the very first time. And if I can stop and just acknowledge that this was not an easy process for me. This is my first time doing direct to camera video podcasting, and each month was a different recording experience. I've tried many different ways to add structure to the podcast. I've tried many different ways to show up. And I want to give a shout out to Ty because he has had to directly deal with my mood swings when I come in here every day, every recording session. And he's been amazing. He's been able to encourage and reassure me when I don't feel like I'm doing my best, that he's there. And he's like, no, it's really good. So I want to give a shout out to Ty for being my support system in the background. And I also want to thank you guys for being here with me. I do not take likely that you guys take 40 minutes to an hour out of your day to sit and listen to me, and not only sit and listen to me, but give me feedback. So what I want to do today is I want to kind of recap what we've learned or what we've gone over in in the off season of this podcast. And I want us to kind of put it all in a nice bow so that we can prepare for season 2, because season 2 is coming shortly after this. So let's go in and let's reflect on the last 4 episodes of Your Access Has Been Granted podcast, the off season. All right. So today we are going to recap the off season. We had 4 episodes that we split into about 8 episodes. So I know when I say 4, if you've been an avid listener, you're like, it's only been 4 episodes. It was 4 episodes, but we did split it up into parts, more digestible pieces. So we're going to go over each episode and talk about the highlights from each episode so that we can make sure that we have noted what was our intent when we went into this process. So today we're not only closing the chapter of the off season, but we're going to kind of get into what season 2 is going to be like. But before we do that, we want to go over what the off season entailed, what the 4 episodes we're talking about, and how we can make sure that we apply this to our next season. Throughout the off season, we've explored some profound themes that have resonated with so many of you from what you've told me on Instagram and other messages, from embracing self-discovery and personal freedom to uncovering your true passion and embracing change as a tool for personal transformation. Each episode has been a forward-moving conversation that I've intended to help us evaluate where we are and start to develop the things that we need to move forward. During the off season, we talked about self-discovery. We journeyed into understanding our true selves and unlocking potential we never knew we had or never knew existed. As far as self-reflection is considered, we went through introspective conversations. We've cultivated a deeper understanding of ourselves and what it is to look into yourself and find things that you already have and cultivate those things to be more. We also talked a bit about transformations and transitions, and I say a bit for reasons that we'll talk about in a little bit. But for transitions, together we've learned strategies to navigate life's changes with grace and resilience. That word come up so many times. Everybody tells me that, and I'd be like, on purpose. I said it on purpose. And we talked a little bit about transformation, and with that, it was embracing change, and how that allows us to transform not just our lives, but our mindset. And I use the term just a bit because for season 2, we're going to heavily focus on the other 2 pillars, which is transitions and transformations. And I'm so excited to do that. With transitions, we talked about how we've learned strategies to navigate life's challenges with grace and resilience. Resilience is one of my favorite words because you can't live this life without it. And we also talked a little bit about transformation and how embracing change has allowed us to transform not just our lives, but our mindsets. with those two pillars, I feel like I was led to believe that season 2 is going to focus more on transitions and transformations with a little bit of framework and help from some of my resources that I've used over the last few years. And I'm so excited about season 2. So, as a reflection piece, because of course that's what we've been doing all season, let's look back at the episodes and talk about some of the highlights that I've noted for the episodes for the off season. In full reflection, because this is still the process that I'm in right now. We all know I'm doing 75 hard. If you don't know, maybe this is your first time watching me. I'm doing 75 hard right now, and a lot of the process of 75 hard, it seems to be physical from the outside looking in, but it's such a spiritual process. And as I'm looking at myself and all the lights in the studio, I have a certain level of gratitude for the courage that I've had to push forward and just be obedient. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in a separate talk outside of this, but a lot of this started with just being obedient. I needed to be obedient to what I was hearing. I started this podcast again in 2021. No one seen the vision but me. My friends supported my vision because they knew what I did in the background for them and other people. My family thought it would be a great idea, but I don't think they fully understood what a podcast environment was or what it would be. And it took courage then to do what I did then. But to come here and be direct to camera and be in front of you guys talking to you like this, to have gone through a 4-year stint of not doing it at all, to jump right back in it in a whole new way. It took a lot of courage for me to do that. Not only because it's new, but because I'm moody. And I laugh so much when I say that because people see me and they don't feel the transitions as much as I feel the transitions. And like I gave Ty a shout out in the beginning, he has experienced transitions. Sometimes I'm in here and I'm literally pulling teeth trying to get what I need to get said. But I'm operating and I'm moving in obedience. I'm doing things that I know I'm supposed to be doing. So no matter how much I don't want to do it, no matter how moody I am, I have shown up. I've shown up, I've done my job, and I have reaped the benefits of it because my whole purpose for everything that I do as a life coach is to take my passion and make impact. And that has been my focus since 2021. So I am proud of myself. And I just needed to say that. I needed to say that I'm proud of myself for doing what I said I was going to do. I'm proud of myself for doing what I heard that I needed to do. Because when I tell you it was years of when the podcast coming back, I'm telling myself that. I'm trying to figure out other ways to get the podcast done other than this. But I had set out a goal. In 2021, when I did the first episode, I said that season 2 would have a visual component. It took me 4 years to get to this visual component, but we are here. And season 2 definitely has a visual component. And it's important for me to note that because we talk a lot about how we set goals. And sometimes we have the destination, but the direction to get there is a little foggy. It takes a lot of twists and turns. It's never just straightforward and goes straight to where you want to go. And this has been a testament of that for me. I have taken 4 years of a hiatus before I got to my goal of being here in front of a camera with a visual component for this podcast. None of the things that happened in the last 3 years I planned on happening that was going to stop me from doing this. I even tried to find other ways that was less quality. I was going to do StreamYard. It's not StreamYard. I think it's Streambird. Don't make me lie. Whatever it is, I was going to try to stream it. I was going to try to do all these other things. And one day I just heard a voice say, hit Google and see if it's a local podcast studio near you. And I found this one. It was the first one I found, which is insane. It's probably not insane. They just probably got really good marketing. It was the very first one that popped up. I made an appointment. I came in here and I seen the studio, and I decided from that day forward that this was going to be the studio that I was going to work with. And I feel like it's all been aligned. I really like working with the people that I work with here, and everything just feels right. And I'm just grateful for my life to be in a flow, and it doesn't feel like I am in a tug of war. All right, let me get off my soapbox. Back to the episode. So, in episode 1, Still Trusting the Process, we established the foundation of our series by emphasizing the significance of trusting the process by having faith in our journey, and even amidst all the uncertainties that I just talked about. It was so many uncertainties. I can't even talk. And it was so many unknowns that I had to deal with. We reflected on personal stories of growth and the strength of perseverance, which has served as a beacon of hope for all of us, me included. It has been the most hope. My biggest takeaway for episode 1 has been the reflection of growth. Listening to myself in 2021 was difficult. When I first recorded the audio, I went on to listen to it one time, just enough time to do the edits, and send the edits to the person that was doing my edits at the time. And then I would never listen again. So when I listened to it for the first time in 2024 to prepare myself to record, I cringed the whole time. Even when I recorded it in front of you guys, I was still cringing. But that cringe just lets me know how much I've grown. It lets me know that although life has like put me in a chokehold and bing, bing, bing me a few times, I stood up in the corner and I fought my way out the corner. And for me, trusting the process is still just that, because life doesn't stop lifing. I know I've said that multiple times on this podcast. Life does not stop lifing, but we got to keep going. And that resilience is something that I repeat over and over again when I'm talking to you guys, because life does not stop lifing. The way you manage life, the way you perceive things that's going on in front of you, the way you regulate your emotions. That's why we regulators. Don't ever forget that. The way that you regulate your emotions in order to deal with life is where the key is. And that faith in the unknown, knowing that no matter what, I'm going to get to my destination, because I've promised myself I'm going to be resilient and I'm not going to fold. I am going to be adaptable. I'm going to adjust. And that episode was my biggest takeaway, was that, Brittany, you have done the work. You must keep going, because there's so much more work to do. On this podcast, we focused a lot on self-awareness and self-evaluation. And in real life, that's just the bottom of the pyramid. The top of the pyramid is self-mastery. Myself, I don't believe you get there until it's over. But there's other concepts of where self-mastery and what self-mastery looks like. We are at the bottom of the pyramid, just getting started, and we're still only 10% of the people in the world who even care to be self-aware, to be in a space where they can self-reflect and actually appreciate the growth and identify where they want to go moving forward. So that was my biggest takeaway from episode 1. All right, for episode 2, titled Still Showing Up for Myself with Nakia Simone, we embarked on a journey of self-reflection that allowed us to emphasize how self-discovery and embracing personal freedom can actually help guide you toward finding your purpose. This was such a good episode, because we focused on that 1% every day and how this occurs by intentionally showing up for yourself each day. My biggest takeaway in that episode, first of all, I want to give a shout out to Nakia. Me and Nakia work very well together, and one of my biggest takeaways from having Nakia on as a guest, because as you noticed, she was my only guest for the off season, because the off season is a self-reflective process, and I only actually directly reflected to 2 episodes from the original season. Nakia was my only guest, and everybody who watches me and Nakia on the podcast love us together. Nakia may not be a co-host, but Nakia will reappear on this podcast quite often, because you guys are right. We really do work well together. Me and Nakia have aligned our journeys so much that we are usually experiencing some of the same things at the same time, or one of us are experiencing it first, and then we can go back and help the others. And it is a beautiful experience, because a lot of people struggle to even have friends. I love that I have friends that I can not only have fun with, but I can learn and grow with, that we can grow through challenges and we can grow through all of the things that life throws at us. So my biggest takeaway was I really love having a friend that is also on the same journey as me, because showing up for yourself is very difficult. And a big part of showing up for yourself sometimes takes a village. It takes a village to remind you, hey, did you go to the gym today? Hey, did you eat well today? Did you read today? Did you get yourself ready for your podcast on Friday? Did you do your taxes? Did you, like, just little stuff that sometimes we avoid that we need to do? We have to have people around us that are focused and driven to also help us through those processes. So showing up for yourself is very important. We set habits every day that help us get to those end goals, and that destination, I keep using the word destination because the direction will always change. But if you're showing up for yourself and you're doing those small habits that is intended to get you to those goals, things are going to happen the way that they are. If you're being obedient, again, that word obedient, and you are actually just showing up and doing the things that you need to do, things will fall in place. And that was the biggest takeaway from that episode. I also enjoyed watching Nakia have her self-reflection moments on how far she has come, not only from 2021, but from when she first started to realize what her purpose was. I loved watching her, like, light bulb go off multiple times. As you saw in the episode, I was just watching her. I was watching her go through so many emotions. And as a life coach, that's one of my favorite parts of my job. I enjoy watching my clients experience those aha moments and really enjoy and embrace the journey. In episode 3, titled Your Life is the Ultimate DIY Project, we delved into the idea of taking charge of your transitions and transformations. By applying the skills from the previous 2 episodes, which encouraged us to embrace our personal freedom and also trust the process that we were going through, no matter how hard it was, we were encouraging you to reinvent your life as often as necessary, all while nurturing a mindset of creativity and adaptability. My biggest takeaways from that episode, the DIY project episode, was my realizations of of myself and how I managed not taking advantage of my power and transitions and transformations throughout my life, and how I hadn't seen my life as a DIY project prior to maybe a year ago. And doing the episode and creating the episode, it made me even more insightful on my own journey. The thought that you can reinvent and recreate your life as much as possible is the ultimate personal freedom. It is highlighted by courage, it's highlighted by adaptability, it's highlighted by the mindset that everything is a lesson. And as many times as we have taken losses, they all are lessons. And if we can see that in that way, we can move forward quicker. We can give ourselves the freedom we need to reinvent our lives. We can take the self-limiting beliefs away and do whatever it is that we want to do, because you literally can do whatever you want to do. You could be a teacher today and decide that you want to be a doctor tomorrow. Go sign up for college, and in 8 years you're a doctor. No matter how old you are, no matter where you come from, we have the power to do anything that we put our minds to. And that episode reminded me so much of how I don't have limits. Right now I'm doing a podcast. Right now I'm a life coach, but that doesn't mean that I can't do anything else. I have so many visions, so many things that I want to accomplish. And doing this podcast is not just for y'all. It's really for me. And it's always a reminder of why I do what I do, because I love helping people through transitions and transformations. It is the biggest takeaway for me as a life coach. My purpose is to serve, and I serve through helping people move through transitions and make transformations in their lives. And that DIY project was the epitome of exactly why I do what I do. So that was my biggest takeaway from episode 3. Another thing that I really appreciated about episode 3 was the question component that I added to that episode. As a life coach, one of my biggest jobs is to ask challenging questions that are going to push my clients forward. A lot of times, the self limiting beliefs and the doubts that you have in yourself or the negative self talk will stop you from creating space where you can expand. We stay contracted in some of those spaces when we're stuck. My job as a life coach is to get you to expand, whether it be your mind, your heart, your spirit. And a lot of times, those challenging questions is what helps the client move forward. So I loved adding that component to that episode because I wanted you guys to take out your notepad and your pen and actually ask those questions and answer them honestly, because I know that those answers is what is going to unlock that personal freedom that you have and help you move forward. Another thing is every time I say notepad or pen, I feel like I need to release some. I think I need to come up with some notebooks. I think I'm gonna do that. That was another big takeaway from episode 3. Let's move on to episode 4. Finally, our last episode, The Power of Choice. We examine how we harness the power we possess and how it shapes our life's journey. We talked about the potential of our choices, whether it holds us back or propels us forward. And it has been a journey, even experiencing my own journey with the power of choice. Everything that we do in life is based on the choices that we make. Everything, all the way down to the breakfast you eat and what time you eat breakfast. The people you choose to be in your circle, the family that you create versus the family that you were born into, depending on how forward moving or how stuck you could be. All that is depending on the choices that we make. We talked a little bit about how impulsive choices can be detrimental to our growth and moving forward. We talked a lot about how intentions matter in this episode, but my biggest takeaway is just reminding you that you have the power, and it keeps going back to personal freedom. In personal freedom, you develop a courage, and that courage is telling you that you can do anything that you want to do. You let go of attachments, you let go of things that you were taught, you let go of self-limiting beliefs, you let go of self-doubt, you let go of a lot of the negative self-talk, and all of that comes with a choice. You have to choose to do these things in order for you to be able to mentally and physically go through the path that is going to take you, because it's not an easy one. It is a challenging one. And in order for you to get through those challenges, you have to have an end goal. You have to have an emotional connection to that end goal so that when things get hard, you don't want to give up. You might take a pause, you might fold, but you won't break. You will always get back up because your emotional connection to that end goal will always be on your neck. It's almost like it just be sleeping on your shoulder. It's like it never goes away. When you have a vision and it is purposeful and it's something that God has designed for you and only you to do, it never leaves you. I don't care what you're doing. It randomly pops up in the most random times, and you be like, why am I even thinking about that? Because you're supposed to be doing it. And using your power of choice is going to always help you get there. In the end, when you make the decision that this is where you're going, no matter what happens along the way, you always get back and position yourself into getting to that end goal. That was my biggest takeaway from episode 4. As we close out the off season and prepare for season 2, I am thrilled to bring you more inspiring stories, deeper insights, and even more transformative content. In the upcoming season, we're going to dive into 2 of our other pillars, which is transitions and transformations, by highlighting themes including empowerment, finding your inner strength, and using it to get to your goals and fuel your journey. We're going to focus on community building, the power of connection with others and growing together. We're also going to focus on mindful living, techniques to live intentionally and embrace the present moment. All of these things have been so transformative for me and the people that I work with that I said, let's just keep it going. Let's keep going. Let's keep building on the pillars that we already have set for this podcast and for my business. Season 2 will feature more conversations with experts in their particular fields. I'll share more personal stories, and I'll also provide practical tips to guide you through your personal growth journey. Season 2 promises to be a season of empowerment, connections, transitions, and transformation. Before we completely wrap it up, I just want to express my gratitude to each one of you for being here, being present, giving your feedback, sharing your stories with me that have made my journey even more special. And as we move forward, I want us to remember that you have the power to shape your path and live the life aligned with your true self. A lot of what we work on here is about authenticity and being your true self. And I want us to be able to continue that journey. I want us to continue that journey of self-discovery, self-reflection, transitions, and transformation so that you can be very clear about who you are and what you want so that life can take the turn that you need it to take, that you want it to take, the desires of your heart is really buried under you becoming your authentic self and learning who am I and what do I want to be. So we're going to continue that journey through season 2. Throughout the podcast in general, that is always what our focus is going to be. We're going to explore a lot through different life areas in season 2 and try to focus on transitions and transformations in all areas. I have a few doctors, and all of these people are my friends. Let's just clap it up for my friend group. My support group, my village is amazing. I have about 2 doctors. I have 2 wellness coaches, entrepreneurs, teachers, leaders. All of these people are so excited to come on the podcast and express to you what their journey has looked like and where they are going in this life, this crazy, crazy life. And I like to always tell people I'm a balanced product of my environment. I am a hood baby. I grew up right here in downtown West Palm Beach, moved to Firehouse in Riviera, and I have had the pleasure of having a solid foundation at home with my parents. They always overexposed me to whatever resources that they did have, and I was always able to blend in everywhere. I have pride myself on being my authentic self and being able to be all of me all of the time. Wrong, right, or indifferent. I make my adjustments as I go, but I am going to always show up as me. And that's what I want for everybody. We can make the adjustments, we can develop the skills we need, but we got to start off with at least knowing who we are and being ourselves. And that's what the gist of this podcast is about. So season 2 is just going to expand on that. And I am just so proud to be able to say that we made it through the off season. I'm happy that we're getting ready to start the season 2 of the podcast, and I'm glad that you guys have joined me. I'm glad that you shared the podcast. I'm glad that you shared your feedback with me. You've been commenting on YouTube. I want you to keep doing that. If you haven't caught up on all the episodes are there forever. You can go catch up whenever you want to. Season 2 will be coming out soon. I'm not going to give you a date because your girl got to batch some content. Listen, I got to get in the studio with Ty. We got to get a few episodes done before I release the first one. I got to get photo shoots done. I got to get a rollout completed. Give me some time, but season 2 is definitely coming. If you follow me on all platforms, including YouTube, Instagram, you should be able to get that notification bell and hit it so that you know when the release date of season 2 is coming. I really appreciate you guys, and I don't know how many times I can say that because it's really, truly what keeps me going. I am going head on all the time because there are so many people who are rallying behind me for me to keep going, but also for me to include a lot of their journey into what I'm doing so that I can push them forward. And I am immensely grateful. So until season 2, I can't wait to see you guys again. I know y'all can't wait to see me again. We finished the all season. I'm so excited, Ty. We got to put the cheering sound in there. We did it! I can't wait to see y'all for season 2. Bye!